Yo guys, what's going on? Welcome back to a brand new video on HMSP News, where today we are here finally for our first MotoGP Let's Talk of 2019. We missed Qatar due to circumstances, and we're back today for the first Let's Talk of the season. For the second round, the Argentinian Grand Prix that was held at the Termas De Rio Hondo circuit, where Andrea Dovizioso come into the World Championship as championship leader in MotoGP. Lorenzo Baldassari come in as championship leader in Moto2. And Keita Toba come in as championship leader in Moto3 after becoming the first ever Japanese Moto3 winner in Qatar. Now, Termas De Rio Hondo, it's an interesting circuit. It's very dusty. It's very bumpy. It takes a long time for the track to get clean. If it rains, which I think it did very briefly before the race started for Moto3, and then also it rained overnight, it takes a long time to dry, and luckily we didn't have any of that last year carnage with the track damp in places.
Although that could have been quite exciting.
It could have been exciting. It would have been more exciting than what the final race for MotoGP come out as. But we'll start with the lightweight class with Moto3, because we had a first ever pole sitter, and that was Juan Messiah on the Best of Capital Dubai KTM bike. He took his first pole position with Aaron Canet. I think he was third position last time out in Qatar. Antonio Arbolino joined him on the front row as well. I think that was also his first front row, if I'm not mistaken. He might have actually had a pole position off the top of my head. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, I do think, didn't he have pole on this track? I don't know.
I've got that thing in my head that he picked the wrong tyre and went backwards. I've got that.
Something like that.
Anyway, second row was Lorenzo Dalla Porta. He was also on the podium last time out in Qatar. And Nicola Antonelli and Andrea Migno, who come through qualifying number one. Toba, he was 8th position on the grid in the middle of the third row. He had Fanati to his left and Sasaki on the right. And then John McPhee, who was looking very good throughout the weekend. Unfortunately, things took a bit of a turn for the worse for him, but we'll get onto that in a little while. He was starting 11th. Darren Bender, because he was a big part of this race, he started 20th on the grid. And then his teammate as well, Tom Buthamos, was 27th on the grid. Just throw that in there. And it was also a debut for Sergio Garcia, but unfortunately for Sergio, he had a crash in morning warm-up, which ruled him out of the race.
Two big crashes, obviously. About one in practice also with Alex Viu and Yuchenko. So not the greatest way to start off, his Moto3 career. Two big crashes like that.
No. Now, basically, in these Let's Talks, we do our best to discuss what happened through the race. But Moto3, I don't know where to start, because
it was kind of like
it
one
was
of those
just
typical.
It was carnage.
Carnage, bare overtakes, collisions, mayhem. One of those typical good Moto3 races. And it was a fairly big group.
It was a big group. I think 19.
Loads of overtakes, which is kind of like, that's why everyone kind of likes the Moto3 races. Why it's considered one of the best, because you've got all these young kids who are just dive bombing each other constantly. It's quite hard to break away also, although we do see it sometimes. So most of the time the races are just super exciting, super kind of random. You always get these kind of random winners. Obviously, like Ryan said, last time we got Toba, who I can't even remember him really doing anything in the previous year. And then he just comes to Qatar and just wins and becomes the first Japanese rider to win in Moto3. So, it always does kind of give these random, kind of situations, random things happening. And that was no different this weekend in the Argentina Grand Prix. Big group, mayhem. Don't even know how many overtakes there was in that race. It was kind of.
I'd love to know the official figure, because there must have been 100.
They should give a number. In this race there was this amount of overtakes. Like what Formula One do. They always give the overtakes at the end of the race. They should do that.
Yeah.
They might do. We might just not know about it. We might just be done. But
well, so fair on BT Sport, you don't actually get all the Dorna end of the race graphics,
I mean,
is a
BT
shame.
Sport, you don't even get good commentary. They don't even know what they're talking about most of the time. They get riders confused. They kind of see things that people other
Let's not go there. Right. So,
yeah.
Moto 3, we may as well just go with the guys who didn't finish the race. And that was only two of them. For saying there was all that carnage, there was only two riders who did not finish, and that was Vicente Perez, who took a tumble in 2013, I think it was, and then Lopez, Lopez was a bit of a wild one, really, because but I think literally that same lap that he had his accident on the straight, he was level with John McPhee, and he weaved across the front of John McPhee. And honestly, I would try, if I can, I'll put a freeze frame in the box just under. John McPhee was doing a wheelie because he ran up the back of Lopez, and that disconnected his thumb brake. He's got a thumb brake with a brake line that goes from his thumb, obviously, down to the rear brake caliper, and it obviously split it or disconnected it. So he went into the final corner, dived on the brakes, went to go and get thumb brake, so he really stopped the bike, didn't have a rear brake at all, and just kind of rode into the back of Lopez and took him down. Toba then got sat up and ran into the grass. He was lucky to stay on. So that was a bit of a disaster for John McPhee.
Good message. It's like those Mark VDS bikes who are just out there to take everyone out this weekend. I mean, they're mad.
Yeah. Now, we mentioned Darren Bender. He started 20th on the grid. We mentioned that earlier. Now, him and his brother, I don't know what they've had for breakfast, but they come out fighting. The boxing gloves were on. They were pushing everybody out of the way. It was it was
It's not like
mental.
It's uncharacteristic though from Darren Bender.
No, he always likes a good.
He's always kind of been like
punch
that.
up.
Obviously, Brad Binder not so much. But obviously, we'll get onto that in a bit. But yeah, Darren Binder, usual self for me. It'll be surprising one day if I see him like not barging his way through and stuff. It'd kind of be a bit like, hey, what's wrong with you? Who's this? Who this?
What are you doing? Where's Darren Bender gone?
What are you doing? Still waiting for him to get his first win.
Yeah, he was just 1/10 off it. Obviously, we may as well get to the results now. Guan Messiah won, obviously converted.
I mean, it's kind of hard to explain Moto3 because
it always is.
It's just a group.
It's just a group of riders just dive bombing, pushing people out of the way,
fighting all the way through. It's not like MotoGP where there are sometimes groups, but I don't know, it's something you can talk about, or like Formula One. You know, when it's just like Moto3, it's just a big group, the whole entire race, just constant overtakes. You know, it's kind of like that's what happened. You can't really kind of get
because the race from like lap 5 to the final corner is completely different. I mean, like Binder started 20th, so he was quite far down the order at the start, and then all of a sudden he's at the front. Dennis Foggia, he started 22nd and finished the race in 8th. He was leading the race at one point. I looked down at Formula One, sent a message to you, looked up, and Foggia was in the lead. I was like, where did that just come from? What was that? So,
how that happened?
That was that was quite cool. And obviously Marcos Ramirez was leading, Dalla Porta was leading. I think Sasaki led a bit, Antonelli led, Arbolino led, Binder led, Mino led, I think a little bit, Canet led. Who else led the race? McPhee, I think he led a bit. It was just changing position. It was just normal mayhem. We can't really explain Moto3. So I guess we'll just say the riders who impressed us and the riders who didn't impress us. Jamie's there going, I don't know the results, I was watching Formula One. So
I mean, I know roughly, but obviously, like I don't even know. I don't think I even said it. The Moto3 and Moto2, I kind of only going from highlights and kind of little small bits that I watched because I was watching Formula One. But the bits that I did see from Moto3, they was all just a bit too mayhemy for me. But riders, I couldn't even think of a rider that disappointed me. I mean, I think of a couple that did impress me because there were some good rides, but a rider that disappointed me. I mean, if a rider that disappointed me, if I was going to name one, obviously I didn't watch the race, like the middle part, so I don't know, but I would have said McPhee just because of the way he was looking for all the practices, and then the quality was a bit dodgy. Then obviously he was there, so it was
but then again, I was thinking McPhee, but it's like the crash
Like
was
you can't
caused
say,
by somebody else.
yeah,
If
you can't say, I was disappointed by him because of his bad quality, but then he was kind of leading the race. So
yeah, I'd
Fernandez,
say Cornfile. He was quite a long way down the order when he crashed. He did get back on, as did his teammate Philip Salak, and also Mazaki on the RBA bike. He decked it as well. But Chanon Chu, I think, was a disappointment because I think he was looking quite good at one point. I think he was on for a spot in Q2 at one point, and then got, I think the timing's a bit wrong and ended up dropped down to 23rd. And he was making
Fanati isn't
progress, and then
quite doing what I was expecting. You know, I kind of thought it would just come in and be like one of those clear, fastest riders.
Yeah,
he's not quite doing
No.
what I expected
No.
anyway.
yeah,
Which was disappointing in a way. But Shannon Chu, I don't know about Austin, but he will come when we come.
yeah.
to
When we
Europe,
get to Jerez, the tracks
you know,
that he's done the mileage on.
He'll probably be up there. You know, his first kind of couple rounds he's never touched in his life, so obviously he's going to struggle a little bit. But I definitely think, you know, Jerez. Hopefully, when I'm there in front and he's riding around in front of me, hopefully he does well there. But of riders that I can think of a couple that impressed me. Also, I didn't even watch like the race, but you know, straight off the bat, Darren Bender from 20th to get up the field. Is quite impressive. I do think, didn't Ramirez do something like that in Qatar? I think he qualified like quite far down.
Yeah, he did
his way through. So it's not impossible in Moto3. Obviously, qualifying is important, but it's not kind of like as important as, you know, Moto2 or MotoGP. Because obviously the groups are so big and there's so many overtakes and craziness going on that you can kind of redeem yourself and, you know, come back in. Obviously, like Darren Binder demonstrated, and then Ramirez demonstrated in Qatar. And a couple of riders. Didn't you say Foggia was low down in quali or something like that?
22nd on the grid.
So, you know, these bad qualities, they can come back into the race.
Especially in Moto3, because you qualify 22nd and you've got about an 80% chance of being in the leading group.
Exactly. And obviously with all the slipstream and all the chaoticness.
Everyone's slowing each other down because you've got somebody coming from 5th. I mean, McPhee made a triple overtake into the hairpin. It's such a shame he crashed. Sorry, I was just sorting my shoe out. That's why I went out of shot.
It's definitely one of the probably the more exciting ones to watch, you know, out of the three, because it always gives a good race. There's never really a Moto3 race where you watch it and it's boring. There's always mayhem going on. Right up to the very last corner, there's
right up until the line.
I mean, well, yeah, even to the line. I mean, that whole little last kind of
obviously in Argentina there ain't much.
Last lap was
quite. Gabriel Rodrigo clipping the back of.
He definitely messed up a little bit on that last lap. It looked like he was gonna grab a podium or possibly a podium, and then obviously messed that up. Got it a bit wrong, which was disappointing for the fans. Obviously, he was riding with the flag, even though he is from Barcelona, I believe. So
yeah, he's got Argentinian parents and born in.
Confusing. A bit confused. It's kind of like me. I'm out here in Spain, but I mean.
We've got some breaking Moto2 news that's just come through, but we'll get onto that in a second. Moto3 race results. Juan Masaya won. Darren Binder was second. Antonio Arbolino was third.
That's 2 races in a row now where we've had 2 brand new winners in Moto3. You know, we've got Toba and Jaume Masia.
Yep.
Which is quite cool.
Antonelli, 4th, with Sasaki pinching 5th off Rodrigo by 41 thousandths of a second. Nothing in that at all. And then
wrong line, that last final corner, that little mistake made him go from, what was it? He was leading coming into it. And then he was like 3rd, and then obviously in the 6th, just because of one small little mistake.
And then Dalla Porta was like 12 thousandths of a second behind Rodrigo in 7th. Foggia in 8th position with Ramirez, and Toba, who recovered obviously from that McPhee incident earlier on in the race, for 10th. He pushed Minio outside the top 10. Canet was 12th. He was a bit of a disappointment, as was Romano Fenati, who didn't actually score a point in Argentina. Suzuki was 13th, with Celestino Vietti in 14th, and Raul Fernandez picking up the final point on the Aspar bike. So, yeah, that was Moto 3. Like I said, we can't really talk about it too much because there's just so much to go on. Now, Moto 2. I've just had an update through from someone that a certain Brad Binder, who we mentioned earlier, was riding rather aggressive. Now, I'm not sure what the extent of the penalty is, but Brad Binder has been slapped with a penalty for irresponsible riding, I would imagine. So, I'll keep my eye out for that, and if I get any information, even if we're halfway through MotoGP, I'll bring it in the video. So, yeah, that's something to bear in mind. He finished 6th. So he definitely won't be 6th when the penalty gets implied. But
unless it's a penalty for the next race,
it could be.
Might be like a grid penalty, something like that.
So Moto 2 championship leader, like I mentioned, was Lorenzo Baldassarri, and yeah, he come through. Hang on, I've just had it drop one position in the final results. So Binder has been dropped to 7th, and Marini has been upped to 6th.
It's not that bad.
Interesting penalty. So that's going to throw me off when I read the results. So yeah,
3-place good penalty for the next race or something like
that. Yeah. Right, Moto 2 then. Pole position went to Xavi Vierge, but unfortunately for the Spaniard, his bike cut out. I guess he was going too slow. I don't really know. I mean, it was an electrical problem, they said, but whether that was an electrical problem due to him riding too slow and the engine cut out or whatever, I don't know. But unfortunately for Xavi, his second ever pole position and his second at Argentina, because his first pole come last year at Argentina, I believe.
Likes it. He likes that track.
Yeah.
Disappointing to see him not even start the race though.
It's such a shame. Another man who didn't start the race, and we'll quickly jump into that, is Augusto Fernandez, who had a monster high side in FP3. Absolutely huge high side in FP3.
Yeah, I was kind of like a little bit depressed after that because obviously he kind of rode quite well in Qatar.
Yeah, he rode very well in Qatar.
Quite a bit of a fan of him. I don't obviously to see him just flying off a bike and then not going to race. Was definitely disappointing, to see that. But hopefully, he recovers quickly and comes back. But it was quite a big highlight. Like when I saw that, cause I hadn't seen it at the time, like live. When I watched that video, it looked quite nasty.
It was very nasty.
Launched forward and all that. Not too good, but hopefully he can come back. Has he damaged his wrist, I think?
Yes, fractured his left wrist.
Hopefully, I don't know if he'll be riding in Austin or not, but if he is, hopefully, it all goes well.
Yeah, hopefully. So Vierge didn't get to start the race, neither did Fernandez, but obviously two very different reasons why. And one man who didn't really get to race at all was Stefano Manzi, because he fell off on the first lap. Not going to get into that too much because...
Not surprising.
Okay, he's went there. Another man who fell off, and these two guys actually fell off at the same corner. Two separate incidents. Luti ran into the back of Binder and lost the front. And Sam Lowe's just went a little bit wide, tapped in the throttle, and just folded the front. Simple.
I mean, it's not so weird seeing Sam Lowe's fall off, but it is kind of weird seeing Luti, because he's not really a rider that makes too many mistakes. He's always kind of
he's like a Dobby. Dovizioso's like that.
Dobby crash in practice or qualifying. I can't remember which session it was. I think it was qualifying.
FP3.
Not qualifying. Practice. That was kind of like, whoa, what's going on? How's he done that then? And then to see when he just kind of rode into the rear tire of Brad Binder was I don't know. I was just kind of surprised. Like, obviously, like, it's so clean that he rarely crashes. Even though he did have that big crash in Qatar, but
yeah,
I don't know. It's just not really typical to see Thomas Rudy crash and then he went and done that, which it was kind of surprising for me. Obviously, Sam Lowe's, I think, is that his first crash of the year?
It's his first crash of this season, yeah, but his second crash, including testing. So,
yeah, but if you count like from when the season actually started, I do believe it is his first crash, which is good for him. You know, considering he crashed loads in the past, you know, he's doing well so far. But he did choose to crash out in the wrong moment, you know, in the race. But it's an easy mistake to do, especially on the dirty track of Argentina. So, I don't know. Disappointing for him, but...
Another couple of riders who didn't get to finish the race. We've got 3 Italians. We've got Simone Corsi, who retired with 2 laps to go. Not sure what happened to him.
Probably just gave up. He's a bit like, nah, screw this.
Because he was closing into the back of the top group. Because I noticed him. And he was coming on that weird-looking Tasca bike. And I was like, hey, Simone's getting in the mix. And I didn't even know that he didn't even finish the race until now. So, yeah, he dipped under the radar. Jorge Martin, obviously the Spaniard, he fell off with 5 laps to go. Balega, the other Italian that I was on about, he retired with 5 laps to go. He pulled into the pit. So I think maybe arm pump was Balega's Achilles heel this weekend. Not sure, but there was a little whisper going around after the Moto2 race that Balega had a bit of arm pump, and that's not unusual to see arm pumping in the Moto2s with the new Triumphs, because Jorge Martin had surgery on his arms for arm pump problems. Fabio Di Antonio, he retired with 11 laps to go as well on the speed up. Now, in terms of the race, it was a rather exciting one, really, for Moto2. There was quite a lot of battling, quite a lot of rubbing.
That definitely does look like Moto2 this year is more exciting than usual, you know, so it's Triumph come in, because Qatar was a pretty good race too. And then, you know, it's 2 races in a row where it's been pretty cool, pretty exciting. So, you know, hopefully they can continue that for the whole year, because obviously Moto2 did get kind of boring throughout, you know, the last couple of years. Everyone was kind of like just separated. Whereas this year it does seem a bit more closer. I mean, you can see that in qualifying. I think it wasn't like the top 4 separated by like less than a tenth. Like, there's just thousands between them all. You know, it's kind of, you know, exciting to see. And hopefully, you know, that can continue throughout the whole year. Maybe see some different winners instead of just Alda. But it's definitely more exciting than what it has been.
Yeah, for sure.
For the last couple of years.
One man who made the race very exciting was Remy Gardner. He was not afraid at all. He hit the front. He tried to clear off, and he was making some very, very, very hairy moves, with Marcel Schrotter being one of them. He's rubbing Schrotter's elbow with his front tyre. That was very, very hairy.
Also, had that moment with Binder.
Yeah. I think everyone in the front group had a moment with Binder. He was definitely rubbing people up the wrong street, or whatever the saying is.
It's kind of different too, because Brad Binder always seems to be, you know, more, I don't know, chilled.
Yeah. He crashed in Argentina last year, if I remember correctly. He ran into the back of somebody, a bit like what Luti did. So obviously he didn't want to make that mistake again, so he decided to ram them out of the way instead. But yeah, Binder, it was good to see a bit of fight from Binder, because he is a little bit like Marcel Schrotter. He's a bit too kind. So to see Binder really trying to duff people up, it was quite good. And Schrotter...
maybe just needs to bring it down a little level.
Yeah, a little bit. It was a bit like Marquez last year. And Schrotter was unfortunately on the receiving end of Brad Binder. Schrotter's race was ruined at turn 2 when Binder just ran him out wide. And I mean, Binder nearly high-sided on the inside of Schrotter, and it was absolute carnage. But in the end, the man who timed it perfectly, making a move on Remy Gardner, squeezing him onto the curb. Gardner tried to come back round the outside and got run wide. was Lorenzo Baldassarri. 2 from 2 races in 2019. Pretty good stuff for Lorenzo Baldassarri. Remy Gardner was second. He got his first ever Moto2 podium. And
Remy Gardner looks just comfortable and
he
good.
Does. He looks good on the bigger bike.
Obviously, we have seen him on the Tech 3 bike, which was never a good bike, and it was always showing glimpses of talent, and then he'll just fall off it. But this year he's doing quite well. So he just missed out on that podium in the first race. Done a good job here this weekend, picking up the first podium, probably the first of many. So it's going to be interesting to see how he develops throughout the year. It sounded like he was just shocked and exhausted and like just
he just did not know what to say
in his interview. So obviously it shows how much that means.
I think he'd be a bit annoyed as well because he did strategically get it wrong when he tried to let the brake off and go round the outside of Balder. He should have just tucked in and surprised him at, like, say, where Rossi passed Dovi, which we'll get onto later, or the chicane after and run him wide. But, he didn't, and that's that. Joining them two on the podium was Alex Marquez, who you would say is a title contender, but a bit of a difficult start for him in Qatar. But he bounced back on the podium with Ika Lecuona in fourth position. Marcel Schotter, like I mentioned, rounding out the top 5 after his incident with Brad Binder. And because of that, as I mentioned, Binder's been demoted down to 7th position, I believe. There's no official confirmation of that at the moment. But Binder has been dropped down to 7th, and if that is the case, Marini is in 6th. No, Binder's got away lightly because he, right from like FP3, he was ramming people. He rammed Lecuona out of the way in FP3, rammed him straight into pit lane. It was carnage.
Like if I was going to give a penalty for like ramming people out of the way, I would give like a grid slot penalty for the next race, or I mean, that's I don't know, that sounds more fitting than one spot.
Yeah,
that doesn't. Yeah, that doesn't really do too much.
Yeah,
you're not going to get disciplined.
Navarro, he finished 8th, and he won't be affected in the change of the results with Enea Bastianini, top rookie, in 9th position. That's a pretty good run for him on the Etel Trans. He was about 6 seconds in front of his fellow rookie, Somkiat Chantra. And then Bastianini's teammate Locatelli was 11th. He just missed out the points by about 2 seconds. With Nagashima, Powie, Ben Snyder, and Raffin rounding out the points finish. Obviously, Raffin replacing Stephen Odendahl, who is recovering from an infected bone in his toe, which is a bit, yucky. Marco Bezzecchi, I've just seen a very interesting photo of him on his Instagram, actually. He did a Marquez save during that race. And I think if it wasn't for that save, he would have been in the points because he missed out by about 0.6 of a second. So poor Bezzecchi there, missing out on the points. With Jake Dixon in 17th, it's good for him to get a race under his belt. And funnily enough, he was in front of Tulovic on the results. He had a battle with him because Jake was not happy with old Tulovic, who held him up in qualifying 1. He said he was brain dead. And definitely was giving him a bit of a dig. So I thought that was quite funny for them guys to kind of have a bit of a battle on track. Right, shall we move on to the big one, because
the Premier
it's getting
class.
late. It's getting late.
It's getting late. Yeah, the Premier class, which for the first time in quite a while, I think. Anyway, it was the most boring race of the 3.
In terms of the race win, yeah, but the battle for...
I mean, there was obviously good, exciting moments, but not for the lead. I mean, the leader was stupid far ahead. I mean, it was they were kind of expecting it, because obviously it's a good track for Honda, especially for Marquez. Hondas do go pretty well, but I mean, I wasn't expecting...
I was expecting like 12 seconds.
I was expecting them to battle a little bit, and then he might pull out a little bit of a gap, maybe like 2 seconds, 3 seconds, something like that. Not that from lap 1, he would already have a gap which was bigger than Qatar. and then he'll just keep on going. So that was a bit boring in terms of the race victory. But like you said, there was good battles for P2, which went back to P3, Where did that go?
Eight,
P9, P8,
nine, I
something
think.
like that. I think it was P9. I think it was Quartararo and P10 by himself. So that that was good. It was exciting. With Dobby, Rossi, Vignales, Morbidelli, Petrucci, Jack Miller, and then obviously Rins joined in on the party a little bit later on, which was kind of surprising too, because Suzuki have looked pretty bad this weekend. But you turn that around.
And going into the weekend before any practice and that, I was like, I've got a Rins win feeling because he went so well there last year, and he went well in pre-season, and he's looking good. And then qualified 16th on the grid. I was like, I've got you to win here, mate. So come on, please. But luckily, he didn't get the win. Obviously, he didn't get the podium, but he did get himself into the top 5.
But yeah, the middle. Well, I say the middle. From P2 to P8, P9, whatever. That was exciting.
Yes.
There was quite a few overtakes, especially with Jack Miller. Kim and Petrucci kept switching positions quite a lot of times, and obviously we did have Cal Crutchlow in there too.
Yeah, I was just about to touch on him.
He got given a ride-through penalty. Now, I did say that they should, or probably would be better to use that
penalty lane
thing, because he didn't really gain anything from what he done. He might have gained maybe the smallest amount of time, but I do feel like that penalty lane thing would be more adequate for the situation, because he would still lose time.
If he had jumped it like Lorenzo jumped in America, 2014 was it, when he went when the lights went on, then straight ride through penalty. But yeah, right.
Well, it is hard to kind of get like a thing where like if you do certain thing you go through here, and if you do another thing you have
because at the end of the day, if you jump start, if you jump start like Lorenzo did, or if you jump start like Crutchlow supposedly did, at the end of the day, you're jumping start. You're breaking that one rule.
I just saw I don't know, it was an interview or a quote from him or whatever on the they sent me in one of the chats, but he said he did a jump start. But obviously, I guess he did, because if not, he wouldn't have the power.
See, that's the thing. Right?
That's the thing. That Dorna know what's going on. Obviously, they have all the cameras
on each individual row.
They would see him go, I suppose, before anyone else. But like from the top camera that we saw, it looked like he just went with everyone else. But I guess he just went that 1,000th of a second too early, or something stupid like that, probably.
I think Crutchlow, you've got the white box sort of thing painted around. Crutchlow didn't leave that white painted box before the lights went out. Yeah, you're going to get minuscule movements because you're finding the biting point of the clutch. The bite is wanting to move, so you're going to get slight movements. So I think unless you cross that white line, then you've not left your grid slot, so therefore you're not gaining an advantage. But
then people might just go a bit further back and then anticipate the lights like move.
Yeah.
Like what Bottas done in Austria in Formula 1, where he just anticipated the lights and went off. I know it is a hard thing to do, but it definitely just kind of feels harsh when he didn't gain anything, and then his whole race gets ruined because he has to come through the pit lane, which is super long also in Argentina.
He lost 25 seconds, I think.
To lose 25 seconds on something that he might have gained
0.001.
a quarter of a tenth, or maybe not even that. It doesn't really fit the crime. So I do think that penalty lane thing would have been a better penalty in that case. No. Then, like the commentator said, if they put that as a rule, you might just get someone from the last row just jump and start and get like, I'm going to do the little penalty lane now and fight for the podium. It's all good, lads. So I don't know. It is kind of difficult to sort out. But...
Now, obviously, I was sat on the sofa, the lights were on, I was like staring straight at the TV, and I shouted, Crutchlow jump and start. I saw movement from him. But then when you go watch the replays and they all slow it down and that, you can't see movement. But I personally think slowing it down, when you're watching it in slow-mo, you don't see the movement.
I didn't see anything. Like, I usually, when someone jumps start, like, even just like a little tiny bit, I always see it.
Yeah, like I saw movement and I shouted Crutchlow jumped the start, and I was like gutted because I was like, Crutchlow just jumped the start, and everyone was looking at me like, you what? I was like, yeah, he's just jumped the start, and they were like, well, I didn't see that, so yeah, sure. And then 2 laps later, flagged up, and Crutchlow's got a penalty. I was like, told you.
Good job I didn't, choose to bet on anyone this weekend, because like the couple of rides that I would have been thinking of, they all flopped on me. So that was a good job. But
Jorge Lorenzo, let's touch on him because my man Lorenzo started 12th on the grid. He come out of turn 1 second to last.
I don't know.
I didn't watch him off the line. I was watching. I was seriously watching Crutchlow.
Now because like when they put on that second replay, I only looked at Crutch. I didn't look at anyone else. So I don't know what he done off the line, but must have been bad.
My brother was watching Lorenzo. And he said the lights went out and he didn't go. He just did a warm up lap start. So
because I was kind of thinking what happened to him, because I was looking at the graphic, because obviously he was in P12, like starting position or whatever it was. And I saw him in P18 or 19. I was kind of like, what's happened there then? and then he started fighting his way through again, which was good. He did say that he doesn't mind sacrificing this race just to make sure that he's fit for the future ones. So I was kind of thinking maybe he was riding safely or whatever. But in the end, he did claw back to, what was it, P12, aided by the incident that happened later on in that Grand Prix between Vinales and Morbidelli. But yeah, I didn't see the start, so I don't know. But I don't know. When the lights go out, you kind of need to go with them. You need to move. You got to move. You can't just stay there. But it's been a bit of a tricky start to the season for him. Obviously, Katai had those injuries coming to this weekend. Still with the injuries, but like way better condition. And he's having a bit of problems with the setup on the bike. It's quite different to Marquez's Honda, which I didn't even know.
Lorenzo apparently rides it like a chopper, which is like arms forward.
When they said that it was, longer and or something like that, I was kind of like, oh, wow, since when? I didn't know that. But
legit.
Hopefully it works in Austin for him. Hopefully that's when he's at the peak of the fitness. Hopefully his wrists and all that.
Yeah, because he's still got broken ribs.
So hopefully that's all better for Austin, and then we might actually kind of see him like the true potential. Because he will get there. It's just a matter of time. He will be up there. But Argentina isn't really one of his tracks anyway. Even when he was in Yamaha and Ducati, he never really went well out of the track. But he done decent to claw back into the points, because I was kind of worried that he was going to do one of these bad races where he ends out of the points. And when I saw him down in P19 or 18 or whatever, I was kind of like, fine. What's he doing? What's going on? But I didn't know that he didn't go off the line. I want to see like a replay now of the start just to see what he does.
Yeah, well, I mean,
YouTube after
when we finish this recording, which I hope it won't be too long because I'm falling asleep. I'm going down and I'm watching the start, and I'm watching Lorenzo, I'm watching Crutchlow, because I'm 99% sure I saw a move from Crutchlow, but I don't know. I'm not race direction. I don't have all the special cameras. I don't have all the access to the team's data, so I'm just some kid watching at home. So
exactly. They will know. Obviously, he clearly did jump the start.
Yeah,
but it's just kind of disappointing when that equal tiny thing could ruin your entire race.
Yeah, I mean, I saw a tweet
looking good for a podium.
I saw a tweet. They took away the penalty, the time of the ride for penalty, and Cal Crutchlow would have finished 6 seconds behind Marquez and 3 seconds in front of Rossi, and he would have been second.
Exactly, he was looking good for that podium.
But the big factor of that is he was riding on his own and he wasn't in a group. He wasn't being dive bombed. He wasn't, he could get into his rhythm. So if he was in that group being passed,
I think he passed that group with ease.
Yeah.
I think he would have got through anyway. But that was disappointing for him. But As for the other riders, probably a relief, to not have him there taking away a position from them. So obviously, Marcus won the race very easily. I hope it doesn't happen again in Austin, because Austin's another track where, Honda goes really well at. He's undefeated there, I believe.
Yep.
So if he's going to win there, don't do none of that big gap malarkey. Get a bit closer to the lads, have a bit of battle at the start, and then go. If he's going to have that much pace. But he obviously won that race. I can't remember what the gap was.
9.816. It was about 13, but then he was too busy celebrating on that last lap.
I mean, yeah, they were saying that it was going to be, wasn't it going to be his record of like?
Yes.
So he ruined his own record. So that's peak. But obviously Rossi picking up his first podium for Yamaha.
First podium since Germany in July 2018. So like in 2 or 3 months' time, it would have been a year since that race.
So also that is also the first podium for Yamaha this year.
Yeah.
With the mare they had in Qatar with Vinales, who also flopped this weekend in a way. He did approach the first lap some more aggressively, but he still didn't go off the line.
Yeah.
He just.
Rossi,
I don't know what's wrong with him.
Yeah.
He won't go off it, but he obviously will get on to him in a minute. But Rossi P2, which
passing
was
Dovi on the last lap with 5 corners left.
I did think I did think Dovi was going to get it because of the Ducati horsepower. I did think he was just going to vamos, and I
had a feeling Rossi would.
But Rossi looked good.
Yeah. I thought Rossi was going to go for it, but I thought Dovi would do a switchback. I thought it would have been in that final corner. Rossi goes in a little bit wide, and then Dovi switches it back just before the left. But then when Rossi passed him at turn 7, I was like, hang on a minute. He knows he's quicker through this section, and he just pulled a gap and was like, yeah. Cool.
So that was kind of cool to see. Yamaha, they definitely do look competitive again, even though they are the slowest of all the factory bikes.
That bike on the straight, when Dovi passed Rossi for the 3rd time, he didn't even have to use slipstream. It was just out of the corner and passed you, see you later.
that Yamaha could be quite dangerous on tracks where there isn't long straights. That could be a very good bike, just like Suzuki.
I'm looking forward to Jerez.
Jerez
is a track. If you look back to 2016, Rossi was on pole and Rossi dominated the race. It's fair to say. But in recent years, the high temperature, the greasy track, the dodgy tyre, if that's sorted, I think we could
Yamaha.
See Maverick Vinales.
It does look like
peak.
Yamaha have gone into the right direction. Obviously, with Vinales getting that position in Qatar, had a bad race, but getting on the front row here. Vinales just needs to sort out. I mean, first we need to get off the line properly, because that's 2 races in a row where he's just not gone off the line as well as the rest. Because sort of his first lap tactics, he did kind of do it today, but then he outbroke himself a couple of times. So I don't know if that was due to the tyre.
Yeah, he was getting a bad thing. Yeah, he went for the soft tyre, and then when you're on the soft tyre and you're braking hard, that tyre's at the limit, and it's like squirming around under you, and you feel it, and you're like, I don't like this. But I think that's why he went wide, because he was trying to gain time, and the bike was moving around, and he was like, no, I don't want to do this, and just let the brake off, run off the track, and it'll be fine.
Yeah, but Yamaha, they definitely do look back. Not only that Yamaha, that Petronas one also looks very good, although Morbidelli and Vinales did have a coming together on that.
Vinales, I was thinking at the time of the crash, Vinales shouldn't have been in that position. He should have been higher up. He should have been closer to the fight for the podium.
Should have been, but obviously,
if he hadn't run on, he would have been safe.
Maybe a different tyre choice would have been handy.
Yeah,
Although he did look like he was coming back at the end, as he always does.
Yeah. As soon as that bike gets light.
They had that unfortunate collision. Rins, P4, very good from him, to fight back
P5.
from... Oh, P5.
Miller P4.
To fight back from P... What was it? Where was he on the grid?
P16.
P16. That was a very good race for him, I don't know where that pace came from, but yeah, it's pretty good that it did to see that Suzuki up there. Shame we didn't see Joan Mir up there. He had a bit of an issue. Jack Miller outdoing Petrucci. That's obviously interesting.
Yeah.
I doubt Petrucci will be too, thrilled with that. Obviously, they are on the exact same bike, pretty much, just different colours.
Yep.
Jack Miller feels like he should be in that factory team, and Petrucci should be on his bike.
I think if Miller's seat hadn't unbundled in Qatar, he would have beat him in Qatar. He's beat him today. I mean, yeah.
I just think overall, like even last year, overall, because Miller was obviously on an older bike than Petrucci last year, and he was still like, outdoing it in quite a lot of times. I just feel like overall Jack Miller, especially now, it's just a better rider than Petrucci.
Yeah.
I like it wouldn't really have made any difference if it was the other way around, because it is the same bike. But I feel like Miller, with the added like team personnel and all that from the factory team, I think he could be very, very good, very dangerous rider. But if he continues this form, you never know. He might just do a little switcheroo next year. I don't know. But
we have to wait and see.
He is definitely on it this year, and it wouldn't be surprising to see him, fighting for podiums and wins throughout the entire year. But Petrucci will be disappointed with that. Obviously, he was crying, or looking like he was crying after the Qatar race. I don't know what emotions he was.
Did not look happy
in this race, being beaten by Miller, but still, he done a decent job. But he has been off the pace throughout the whole weekend, and he did claw it back in the race a bit, which is kind of good.
Yep.
Good for him. Morbidelli and Vinales had that collision, obviously.
Trying to pass Petrucci,
which was all a bit of a nightmare, but it was going really well for the Petronas team. Morbidelli out there. One moment he was in fourth, looking like he could have maybe got a podium. I did tell you, I'm rooting for a Petronas podium here, but in the end did drop off, and then literally dropped off the bike right on the last lap, which is a shame. With only a couple corners left to go and drop it on the ground. Wasn't too ideal, but that did give Quartararo a couple more positions.
8th position behind Nakagami.
Managed to start the race on the grid this time round, so that was pretty good race for him too, and Nakagami. Nakagami just looks like a different rider this year compared to last year on this the modern. He's on last year's Honda, isn't he?
Yeah,
I think
Critchlow's bike from last year.
He just, I don't know, he just looks more professional. He just looks better. He looks more comfortable than what he did last year. So Nakagami, good ride from him. Good ride from Quartararo. P9. Who was P9?
Aleix Espargaro on the Aprilia, with his brother behind him.
Top 10 for KTM, obviously aided by the incident, but
you ready? Miguel Oliveira.
KTM, they look like they're improving.
Miguel Oliveira is 0.2 of a second behind Pol Espargaro, who is a podium finisher on a KTM, and Miguel Oliveira is a rookie. If I were Oliveira, I'd be buzzing right now.
Obviously, they're on the exact same bike too, different colours. So Miguel Oliveira he looks like he's adapting quite well to MotoGP. So that's obviously pretty cool. Wouldn't be surprising, to see him beat the factory boys. Obviously, he beat Zarco, who's still adapted and all that to the bike. But still, just the fact that Miguel Oliveira's just coming as a rookie and he's doing pretty decent, obviously smashing his teammate, which we will get onto when we get to him right at the end. He's not having a great time, but and then also I think it was Lorenzo in P12, the two KTMs. I did think he was going to overtake Miguel Oliveira because he was closing in the gap, but then it opened again.
Yeah.
Like on the cameras, they look quite close, and then it kind of opened up again. Decent ride from him. I don't know, not too bad, I suppose. P12, obviously not great, but considering the condition he's in, the lack of testing and all that, it's acceptable, I suppose. I don't know. Obviously, he won't be too happy about it. Behind Lorenzo, no idea.
Crutchlow.
Oh, yeah, Crutchlow.
Bagnaia, who finished his first race of 2019 after his winglet got snapped off by Petrucci in Qatar. And the final points went to Johan Zarco on the KTM.
Was expecting Bagnaia to be more up there. Even Qatar wasn't quite what I was expecting him to be. I did think he was going to be like Quartararo and Morbidelli, up there. Because obviously in the pre-season he looked kind of decent around Sepang and that. So he's not quite doing what I had expected.
Yeah.
To do, but I suppose he'll come in. Be up there one day, and then Zarco, that last point, pretty good for him. I think he got points in Qatar too. Not a lot, but
1 point in Qatar.
I think he managed to creep into the points, and he's done it again. So he's slow. It looks like he's slowly getting better and better on that KTM. He looks like he's becoming more like the Zarco of last year. It looks like he's just getting more comfortable.
Slowly getting there, yeah. He definitely did look much better.
Which is going to be interesting. Even KTM, it look like they're going in the right direction too. They're definitely improving.
Yeah.
Maybe not at the rate they want to, but they're getting better. And obviously, it does help having 4 bikes, which in a way kind of is 3 bikes because Siren is.
Well, I was going to say, sticking with KTM and going on to Siren, he was 16th. He was 2 seconds behind Zarco, so he's not massively off.
Not done too bad, but it.
And he's 3 seconds in front of Andrea Iannone, who was the last finisher on the Aprilia. So Siren made a little step forward this weekend.
I can imagine a civil war happening between Siren and Hervé, because Hervé seems to get stressed. He also got stressed last year with him too when he was doing 10-second laps slower and things on the Yamaha Deck 3. And then I can also imagine a civil war kind of thing happening between Iannone and Aprilia, because the way I've been reading things that he's been saying and things that people have been sending me in some of the group chats, they're not kind of listening to him, and he's saying that Aprilia aren't making the most of their current bike and trying to fix it. They're just thinking about other things, I don't know, which is, it's not too new really.
Thinking about his face.
It's not too new from to hear that kind of comment from an Aprilia rider.
No,
they're not working on the bike. They're not doing anything to fix it. It kind of looks like only Alicia Spargo can ride that Aprilia well. He's the only one that always kind of does decent results, whereas his teammates are just there, just suffering till eventually leaving the team or getting sacked. So I don't know. Hopefully Iannone can kind of find something or adjust to that bike that he has. I don't know, but definitely disappointing. And if it does continue like that, I could imagine him just kind of leaving that team, just going to modelling or something. Yeah, I don't know, probably have more success doing modelling than riding at the back on an Aprilia. Yeah. No,
so
disappointing.
With
took that bike, nice.
With Marc Marquez taking the win in Argentina, he now leads the championship by 4 points over Andrea Dovizioso, who's 10 points clear of his fellow Italian, who got the better of him in today. Valentino Rossi is third. Valentino Rossi's teammate, you've got to go all the way down to 11th to find Maverick Vinales. So, yeah, he's only 1 point ahead of Quartararo. Back up the table, Alex Rins is fourth with Danilo Petrucci in fifth position. Cal Crutchlow in sixth. So nothing, he's 1 point off Petrucci, but he would have definitely expected to be probably fourth at the end of the Argentine Grand Prix. Maybe even third in front of Valentino in the championship order, but unfortunately that controversial jump start, which no doubt we'll get some more information on throughout the week. But he is ahead of his teammate Takaki Nakagami. Jack Miller 8th, obviously after his seat issue in Qatar. Aleix Spargaro in 9th with Paulo Spargaro in 10th. Like I mentioned, Vinales 11th with Quartararo and Mir, the two rookies in locked actually on points. 8 points for them in 12th and 13th. Lorenzo down in 14th place, which is all too familiar at the start of the year recently for Jorge Lorenzo. He'll find his feet though with the Honda when he gets back to full fitness. Miguel Oliveira is 15th with Franco Morbidelli, who obviously took him and Maverick Vinales out in today's race. Is 16th with model boy himself, Andrea Iannone. Francesco Bagnaia is locked on points with Zarco. And then no points scored for Javi Siren, Karel Abraham or Tito Rabat. Constructors Championship, Honda obviously leading the way, 4 points over Ducati, because it's kind of the same as the riders really. because you just take the points of the highest finishing rider. In terms of the team championship, though, this is both added together. Michelin and Ducati are 9 points clear of Repsol Honda, and Valentino Rossi and Maverick Vinales' Monster Energy Yamaha team are in third.
I'm surprised that they're only 9 points ahead, considering Lorenzo is not doing anything. Anything right now. Because Petrucci's is there, like in the middle, and then obviously Dobby's at the top there. So it's surprising they're only 9 points ahead. So, Marquez carrying the Repsol team. I mean, well, like he has been the last couple of years, because Danny.
He will be carrying them again, no doubt, in 2 weeks' time on the 14th of April when we go stateside, go to America at the Circuit of the Americas in Texas for round number 3 of the MotoGP World Championship. And we will be back again in 2 weeks' time to do the Let's Talk. That's going to be it for today because, it's getting late. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, smash the like button, hit subscribe. Let us know your thoughts about the race weekend down in the comment section below. We'll see you guys next time with a brand new video. Until then, thank you for watching and goodbye.
Ciao.